Namaskar. Today I'd like to talk about the biological science behind sexual restraint. According to Ayurveda, the food that we eat is broken down into 7 component parts. Chyle, which is the fluid essence of our digested food, blood, flesh, fat, bone marrow, and what's called shukra. These 7 elements make up our entire body. And shukra is further subdivided into 3 parts: lymph, spermatozoa or ova, and seminal fluid. So apart from food, lymph is produced from water and air and sun in our bodies. And lymph moves through different vessels. These vessels, the entire immune system, lymphatic system, is a series of organs and vessels, lymph nodes, mostly in the head and neck and in the joint areas of the body. And the lymph moves through body movement, exercise, deep breathing, and self-massage or massage. So why is lymph so important? It's the cream of cream, the final component of the food breakdown process. So it is found in every element of the body. It is so important. In Western medicine, mostly lymph is confined to physical level, but in the new science of biopsychology given by my guru, the role of lymph has also in a mental level and spiritual level. So I will explain that now. Physically, we know that lymph, it strengthens the immune system, and it helps to ward off virus, disease, bacteria. The Sanskrit word ojas means bright. So someone that has a good supply of lymph has ojas, and it means their skin is glowing, eyes are shining, hair is glorious, and there's a beauty and glory to their body. And also they have a capacity to endure more mental and physical stress. Lymph also provides food to the embryo through the umbilical cord, and when it gets into the different organs and glands of the body, the lymph is the raw material, and the glands are the factories. So in this production, hormones are produced. And these hormones, as we have seen in this channel, are necessary, enough adequate supply of hormones to enable us to express the feelings or the propensities of mind. An example would be a shyness. If I have a shyness and there's an inadequate supply of hormones from my pancreas, I'm not able to express that feeling. So the hormones secreted in the higher glands help us in our spiritual, enable us to have deeper spiritual experiences. Not all of them are necessarily external. They may be felt internally. So lymph also, when it enters into the reproductive organs, the spermatozoa and the ova are produced. Mentally, lymph by the yogis is known as food for the brain, because in those higher regions of the body, the lymph acts as it helps to increase our memory power, our concentration ability, our meditation, and lymph actually goes to make up the ectoplasmic particles from which our mind stuff is made of. There was a famous yogi by the name of Swami Vivekananda, and he credited his extraordinary memory to his ability to preserve his lymph, using it in the higher glands. So we also can see that scientists who spend most of their life and they're using their mind in intellectual pursuits, they have very few children, very few issues. So what is the result of the insufficient amount of lymph in the body? As I've just said, it would weaken our immune system. Doctors have identified compromised immune systems as one of the causes of diseases like HIV, AIDS, STD diseases. And lymph, for example, if there's a lack of lymph in the system, legs, then this problem of elephantiasis or swelling of the legs would occur. It's the cream of cream, so it strengthens the nerves, the flesh, purifies the blood, and also low sperm count. Infertility was once thought a problem of the female, but latest research shows that because of low sperm count of the male, that infertility may also arise in this case. So why is it important that we conserve our lymph? Actually, excess lymph, after supplying the immune system and the glands, it is converted into semen, and it has to come out of the body. But when lymph is used in the higher glands in producing those subtler hormones like melatonin, serotonin, then those hormones are utilized in meditation and mental pursuits. So in this way, it is wise if we can preserve lymph for use in the higher glands, and whatever is produced in the reproductive organs can be used for that sacred act of creating children. So in this way, how do we conserve our lymph? We have to guard against. Today, there are many ways in which we can lose this, converting the lymph is converted into semen through pornography or bad discussions of impure topics, excessive sexual activity. The yogis talk about satsanga, keeping good company. So these are some points to note. And also, there are ways, certain yogic practices that help us to preserve the lymph. I remember one of the disciples asked the master, "Sex is bothering me, what do I do?" And the master kept quiet, and then the disciple again asked my master, "Oh, this sex is bothering me, what can I do?" And then the master replied, "Yes, that's its nature, and your duty is to deal with it through your spiritual practice, through your thoughts." So there are certain yoga exercises that can be done, although again, nothing in extreme. It can be controlled or utilized, this lymph can be utilized in a psycho-spiritual way through meditation, through the yoga asanas, and also eating a sattvic vegetarian diet. Because lymph also is converted into semen when the food in which we eat is non-vegetarian or too spicy, or onions and garlic, for example, heating foods. Because in that breaking down process, the lymph is converted into semen. Consumption of alcohol. So these are other ways, or stress. These are other ways in which our lymph is converted into semen. So through these methods I've just explained about the meditation, the sattvic vegetarian diet, you will find all over Asia, the temples, the Buddhist temples, they don't serve onions and garlic in the menu because it's traditionally known, these two foods, to heat up the lower energy centers. So these are some ways. For the male, they wear, in this channel you've learned how to use the langota, the male underwear, which protects the organ, and the tandava dance, the vigorous jumping dance. And finally, another method is by, after having our bath, we apply cooling coconut oil on the joint hairs and we comb them. So these are some useful yogic practices that you can learn in this channel, which are explained in different videos, to help us to conserve the lymph and use it in the higher glands for spiritual purpose. In this channel also we've learned the 10 yamas and niyamas, the universal moral principles. And the fourth yama is called brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, in traditional interpretation, meant the preservation of semen. But our master has given a much broader definition and a more practical definition. Brahma, universal consciousness. Charya, to hold or behold or to see or to treat. all beings as different expressions of universal consciousness. Plants, animals, humans, even inanimate beings. Because the traditional interpretation caused an inferiority complex to develop in family people because they were unable to conserve their semen. But the rules for family life are different than the rules for celibate life. So should not be expected that family people have to follow the same rules. And let me be clear here that our spiritual progress does not only depend on this point. Rather, in this channel, we learn so many practices, and all of them put together ensure our gradual and continual spiritual progress. So that is important to remember. Having said that, spiritual giants, whether it is a Buddha or Jesus or many great Indian yogis I've mentioned, Swami Vivekananda or Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharishi, they observed brahmacharya, this preservation of semen, to help them to attain higher spiritual levels. Traditionally, societies all over the world, before this present generation of, say, the last 60, 70 years, before that, brahmacharya, or this preservation of semen, celibacy, basically celibacy, was observed before marriage because it was felt that this would produce very healthy children. So how many times in a month should sexual relations be done? My guru recommends 4 times a month. But when it comes to number of times, in the spirit of conserving that lymph and utilizing it in higher glands, the more self-restraint, the better. In this way, we don't become susceptible to different diseases, and we don't lose our spiritual inspiration, our mental strength, and our health remains good. So if it seems difficult, don't worry about it. Let it be a very gradual. As you practice your meditation, your yoga exercises, you follow your diet, and fasting, because fasting helps to check the overproduction of lymph from the food which we eat. So that's why monks, they fast 4 times a month, monks and nuns, and family people twice a month in our system. So this is the science of maintaining celibacy in a very scientific and rational way. And these are the benefits. So I wish that you grow on this path, continuing your practices. And the mind, it has a desire to create. Procreate is creativity on a physical level. And there's creativity on the mental level through the arts, the music, song, dance, poetry, writing, and so on. And finally, there's creativity on the spiritual level, trying to become one, moving towards the state of unending happiness or limitlessness. Let's move along that path, keeping these points in mind and achieve that noble goal. Thank you. Namaskar.